I'm happy, I'm excited, I'm elated that our first class is partially in because, we have a signing as well as in February. This has been phenomenal. The coaches have worked their butts off to pretty much affirm some of the best talent, I believe, in HBCU history, in FCS history.
First of all, let me ask you this. I don't imagine you were surprised, or maybe you were, that Jackson State not only participated in the early signing period, which is usually just reserved for FBS and a scattering of FCS schools. Not only did they participate, but they knocked it out of the park today.
Yes, as you said, not only did they participate, but the fact that they hit that fastball coming at you really hard, or if you were talking about football, boy, you talking about a power punch tackle from the linebacker, and they've done it not just on the defensive side, but on the offensive side. From a business perspective, they knock it out of the park. They're getting all the noise when you talk about social media platforms, even getting into some of that primetime news with different organizations talking about what they were able to achieve. So they are continuing to do what you need to do from a business and marketplace driven organization is in staying in front of you, being that hot conversation of the day, of the week, of the month.
Doc, a lot of people outside of, those Prairie View fans like yourself, they like to talk about, well, look, Jackson State, you're doing all this, you got all the players coming in, you still have to win the game. We'll have a chance to see that maybe this spring, definitely, or hopefully in the fall at least. But they are winning the marketing game. How much value would you put on what Deion Sanders has bought to Jackson, regardless of what their record turns out to be? Having both of his sons transfer in, they're getting #1 JUCO players and the top-rated FCS class for this signing period. Like, how do you value that with a head coach that can bring that much positive exposure to your program?
The first way that you value it is all those arch enemies, whether it's Prairie View or some of those real foes that they have down there on the bluff in Southern, or even in the state of Mississippi with Alcorn State, which are programs that right now are ahead of them. So while they're talking about doing on the file, quiet talk, when you go behind the scenes of some of these board conversations or text offline stuff, folks are getting a little nervous now. And the reason is because when you add on the brand validity and value, you're talking about at least multi-million-dollar marketing exposure you are getting. The fact that we are talking about it, one of the leading organizations out there on the HBCU footprint that talks about HBCU sports are giving updates in terms of what's going on. And we only do that because the news is worthy. We're only doing that because that's what the fans say they want to know. So they can joke and jockey back and forth on a little script here, but the numbers don't lie. They're tuning in. FAMU, when they joined the SWAC, that was big business. The numbers were up. Now we got Deion coming into Jackson State. The numbers are up. So we will continue to talk about it. Not because we just are fans of Jackson State. It's because the news and the numbers dictate we're doing it. When you talk about finitely putting dollars to this, you're talking about millions of dollars going in terms of what Jackson State is able to do marketing-wise, brand positioning-wise, in terms of what this looks like. This is significant. We can no longer just sneeze about this. At past, when we first talked about this, in a lot of ways, we were talking about the fact that this may be this. This may be this. Now, all of a sudden, it's real. It's actionable.
And when you talk about, having it is one thing, but executing it is another. The staff there, they're controlling the narrative. They're controlling their own message. When you see videos and photos coming out of Jackson State, it looks like an NFL war room. They are taking a very professional approach to this, and it's at the level that I personally haven't seen consistently with other HBCU brands.
Yes, definitely, Tolly. When you talk about it, even not just HBCUs, FCS, and even some of the bottom feeder FBS programs. As you said, this is tailored from what you can tell somebody that has been at the highest level of what it means to be brand organization inside the NFL and outside that as an independent organization. You can look closely when you start talking about all the clips that they're doing on Instagram, what they're feeding on Facebook, what's coming out of Jackson State from an athletic department, how everything is branded with Dion and Jackson State University. The I love information is out there. So now not only are you talking about branding about JSU football, right? Now you're also able to sell that brand itself. Now you're talking about putting these things on t-shirts. Now you're talking about the ability to be able to even have JSU, TV have paid prescriptions. You can even come back as they're talking about doing things inside of athletics, and he's cross-branding in this with other sports within Jackson, and he's cross-branding it with SWAC teams. So now the level of what Jackson State is doing about understanding brand awareness, as we talk about that, negotiating that space is really significant. We cannot talk about it enough of really getting that information to the people in such a way that they start understanding, I should say, about what it means in terms of brand recognition.